Big yawn. Um, shut up. I'll be back. Don't leave. Enjoy some fun. Nice little break. You enjoy some punk rock. Today is about. Today we're talking about addiction. There's a few reasons why I want to talk about this. First of all, I think one thing about going live that is super important for anyone is you must just hit live. Or you must press record, or you must just do it without judgment or without really taking yourself too serious. Because if you take yourself too serious, it's gonna be a rough time. It's gonna be a rough fucking time. Anyway, I want to talk about addiction in the United States specifically because that's where I find myself. We'll light this candle real quick. Do, 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 do. Oh yeah. I've been listening to a lot of punk rock. I love punk rock. Okay. Addiction. I think when people think of addiction, they think of being addicted to something, to a pill or a drug. But I don't think a lot of people think about addictions in a lot of other ways. I think a lot of people think about addiction in the ways they can physically consume something, and rather than what they can mentally be addicted to. Because physically being addicted to something, your body craves it. Like you need it to kind of move. I know when I cut back my caffeine, I get just really bad fucking headaches. Like just, it will be like I'm fighting something in my head just because like Bless you. My cat just sneezed. But it'll be like I'm like fighting something in my head because of just my body has craved this sort of um, has formed this sort of craving, but also this dependency on a physical substance or physical item. Um, but I don't think addiction nowadays is in the same way that we've been using the word addiction for our whole life. I think addiction nowadays, um, instead of it being a physical thing, like something that you like consume all the time, the addiction the addiction itself is um, like allowing yourself to do anything, like allowing yourself to be able to buy literally anything or be able to or be open to consume anything. That is what I'm trying to get at is addiction is now in the form of uh, a cultural like normalcy or a societal normalcy. You know, you it's not like people sit around and judge you for not drinking caffeine or not drinking alcohol or not smoking cigarettes. You know, no one really does that. But the fact is, no one really judges you for not doing it. Then the opposite is also probably true. When you do it, there is probably a lot of judgment or not resentment, but they you're addicted to the don't stay on that, or I've been trying to quit for the longest time. I hear a lot of people like that when you talk about addictions like that. But now, how can we talk about our addictions if we are addicted to like we've become addicted to our addictions, if that makes sense. I I don't know how to word this better. It's almost not where it's not that we're addicted to our addictions. It's that we've formed a way of life around this sort of convenience that when it isn't met, that like forms resistance and that um creates the addiction of convenience. I think that might be a better way to phrase it or to word it. Um, but you can't just, in my opinion, when you talk about when you talk about addiction in general, or your addiction, or someone else's addiction, um, it's hard to really be objective. I've noticed. Like, okay, so today I had a conversation about gas money, and I'm willing to pay gas money, of course, right? Like it's just gas money. Like there's nothing to argue there. But my argument was that this person that I was giving gas money claimed that the money was theirs. Like, oh, that's my gas money. And that really it didn't stem kind of this sort of topic, but when you have people who are like, oh, that's my sports team, that's my team, that's my money, that's mine. No, that's mine, that's not yours. Wait, if you think about it like that, right? When people cling to the form of it, right? Like they don't even care what it is. They just know they have it, right? Like it's like when you have like a bunch of cans in a pantry, and it's been unorganized for far too long, and everyone's just been grabbing and like hello, and like everyone's been grabbing and moving these cans around, not really organizing ever. So they're just kind of like reacting and looking at different things that they see, and just, oh, I want this now, I want that, but I don't. they don't know they're addicted to the form of getting something for convenience. Because how could you physically not be addicted or crave something, but the moment the opportunity for consumption or convenience produces itself, it's almost embedded in us to just go, to just buy or to consume or just to claim that it is ours. Oh, that's a steal, that's a deal. But in reality, it's just a different form within the perimeters. I also think, we could go a little like obvious. Um, I think alcoholism or being an alcoholic is a really big problem, and it's normalized. Um, I mean, if you drink, you drink. There's no sort of right or wrong. There's just like the thing it does to the body and the mind, and if you allow it to happen, then that's on you. Personally, I am really trying to get away from alcohol. I don't think it's a good thing for you. Um, but I do know a lot of like growing up, for instance, I had family members that I would just always see with alcohol. Um, I remember some family members talking about other family members and their drinking problems when they would have a beer in their hand. Um, it's things like that. Like there's a lot of contradictive behavior amongst addictions. Um, there's a lot of um hypocrisy, but uh, there's a lot of strive for power. And now think of it like this. This one, this is like this just blows my head to really go in depth about. Can't power, right? So when you obtain power, it's you have control. Now, just as I was explaining earlier, how uh, we're not really addicted to things, we're addicted to the convenience we have of things. So a lot of people think that. So in the same mindset, I was saying how that's my money, that's my food. A lot of people exist in the mindset of that. How do I say it? If you obtain something with this form of convenience, which is just money, because like money is really just. Imagine we had to grow our food, right? Like imagine we had to go hunt and grow our food, right? But instead, we have this thing called money, and just we're like, hey, I want a cheeseburger, and they give me, like it's. I don't think we really realize how fucking like easy and convenient we have it. It's a really fucking weird thing to get in your head. But what am what am I getting at? there, when you have a sort of when the addiction isn't physical anymore and it's more mental, power is some of the easiest thing to get addicted to. I mean, if you really think about what's happening right now, where we are in the world, I think it just speaks for itself. I think there's a lot of people striving for power or striving for the idea of power or the idea of influence. And that in itself is addicting. Like, what do you say? How do you say that someone is addicted to a mental thing? Like, how do you tell that to someone, or how do you even begin to discuss that? Because that's almost just um, like being addicted to a certain way of thinking. I think like even me, like I'm probably very addicted to the certain way of my thinking, and you as well. There's many different reasons, but that's a whole other thing. I, I don't know how I had this thought in my head about addiction and about convenience. You know, we're watching this on a screen. We're watching this on YouTube, which has the ability to kind of just scroll on like short form content and other, you know, a sort of just long form kind of route as well. Um, but I think what needs to be talked about is the addiction of like scrolling short form content, but also just the addiction of consuming media in general. Um, I explain it like this: you have a song that you love, right? Think of whatever song you really love. Now, think about how it sounds. Now, say you're around someone who's never heard that song and you have to explain it. For me, there's some bands and there's some artists and there's some music that like you just can't explain until you hear it. You're like, okay, all right, I see what you're putting down. In the same way, you can't really experience what's going on without, or you can't really be aware of the whole situation without really experiencing what I'm talking about firsthand. Because I think a lot of people just fucking talk out their ass because everyone is everyone has the potential to be educated nowadays or the potential to be knowledgeable, and it's almost your fault if you aren't knowledgeable about some sort of social or cultural normalcy. um, I had someone, I don't even know when it was, but I had someone be like, do you sports bet? And I was like, no, I don't even watch sports like that, like I really don't. The only team I watch is the NFL, the Indianapolis Colts with the NFL, just because like hometown heroes, you know, maybe they'll do something, right? Like I've been born into that, um, but it's fun. It's fun in a way of just like trying to like play along with a game with everyone. Um, but even then, you just, I mean, sports are a great one. The NFL, and let's say NBA as well. Now, everyone there, right? All the people watching, you know, some of them could be really diehard, you know, NBA fans and like NBA critics, and they like, you know, they post online all the time about like facts and information with amongst the league. Um, Another person, um, I just have zero fucking idea. They're just there because, you know, oh, it's the thing to do, right? They don't watch the games on the regular or whatever. They both paid $49.99 for the ticket, right? They're sitting right next to each other, but they're two different worlds. They're two different ways they perceive the game. That right there, that kind of like realization of understanding that two, like not two exactly, but many truths can exist at once, kind of combats the whole idea of being mentally addicted to something. Is now with like electronics and social media and the internet, I was talking about how we are addicted to convenience. Now imagine someone. Now imagine both those people, both those like basketball uh, consumers I explained. One who like diehard kind of analyzes the game, writes about it, speaks about it, but the other person has never said a fucking word about it. Now think about that amongst the same society and culture, but they're both paying $49.99 to exist in the same space. Now, this is just kind of a bad example because this is a very I mean, it's not a bad example, but it's a very uh, it's not the best example I could have used because it doesn't really have any consequences to the individuals, um, other than they're both paying the same price. One is fueling the culture willingly, the other is not. Um, but at the end of the day, they both paid the price. So, this, how do I say this? Those two truths can exist, right? They can be they can both exist in that form. Now, how do I say this? Now, imagine on more of a human kind of level of addiction and the mind. Now imagine someone in power, let's say political power, who is born into the world just like us. They can bleed just like us. Now imagine that we actually understood that there's nothing separating us other than the role we set out for ourselves. How do I say this? No one really tells us where to fall, like where to fall in our sort of. Uh, what do you think? What do you think about the situation in Palestine? You know, I think it's pretty. I think it goes on. I think it goes unsaid that that is something that you cannot unsee. I'm trying to. I'm not trying to say the obvious about how it's horrible. Like you're witnessing murder and genocide. Obviously, like if you're denying that, you're not stupid. You might be a little retarded. You might just be slow. I'm not being mean, but you might just be slow, or you might not just be aware of the sort of what's going on. Um, I think it has to be talked about more. I think things like that do not go that do not get talked about amongst daily life is what really creates the the form of, how do I say it? It really creates an echo chamber of violence that is not necessarily not necessary to look at, but it's also just like, how can I use you? I said this. I think I said this yesterday in my last video or live, where um, I don't think I don't really think the Charlie Kirk murder or assassination was coordinated. I think the level of coordination we're talking about is uh, is straight from our consumption of technology and social media and the internet. So you can exist completely in your own echo chamber nowadays with algorithms and AI. Um, and what I was talking about with the Charlie Kirk assassination is people want to look. I don't think anyone really, orchestrated it, but it happened. So what are you gonna do to it? Like, how can some people are gonna do what I'm doing. They're gonna talk about it. They're gonna try to talk to other people about it. But this system we have right here, excuse me, this system, this algorithm, this AI implemented algorithm, this whole sort of formation of technology and the internet and electronics, right? There's many ways we can use it. So people saw this assassination. It was like, oh, we have to spread love. We have to do this. And some people, of course, was spreading hate. I have no really opinion right now. I'm not stating my 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 opinion. I'm just kind of observing. Um, but it happened, right? So there's obviously going to be people who are going to use it for conversation, for the betterment of like the Christian movement or whatever you want to call it, the religious movement. However, there's a large fucking majority who just see it as a money grab. Who's just like, oh, time to edit this show, this reel, this TikTok into Charlie Kirk murder of maybe questioning that there was a inside job or whatever. In the same way, this genocide we're experiencing, not me personally or the United States, but this kind of otherworldly catastrophe. It's just fucking awful. Like some of the videos and shit I've seen, some of the stories I've heard from doctors. I saw something. I don't know. I hope YouTube doesn't ban me. I saw something where two Australian doctors had to perform a C-section on a Palestinian woman who was beheaded. I don't know how she was beheaded. The child survived. She had a C-section and the child survived, but that's a thought to put in your head. But just as I was saying, whether it's right or wrong, it doesn't matter. It's happening. So instead of there being a solution, right, like of creating conversation or creating some sort of action or movement, people are just going to exploit it. They're like, oh, violence and this, how, I'm going to, show myself as, or I'm going to paint myself as this supporter, and I'm going to put this in my bio. I'm going to put this sticker on my car, just to show everyone that, I mean business. None of that shit fucking matters. None of that shit fucking matters until you drop your sort of formation and belief and your ego and your strive for money and desire, or your desires and your desires for money, greed, and all that. Sorry, unrelated, but what products you use on your hair? I have no idea. I use what is it, Trace Sammy? The Trace Sammy? It's like a black and gold bottle. I forget what it's called. I'm pretty sure it's like, hold on. I think it's like Trace Sammy. TRE. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's what I use. It's like a black and gold bottle. I'm tempted. I just trimmed it not too long ago, but I'm tempted to do something else with it. I don't know. I do kind of want a haircut, but I don't at the same time. I like jamming out. I like rocking out. I also think I hate looking like a normal dude. Like I hate looking like just a short-haired motherfucker. How long have I been going? I've been going for 30 minutes. This is a pretty long one. Got a little off topic, but I think not necessarily off topic, but we can wrap this around in the way of your addictions do not control you. Your addictions are more than substance or an item, but I do think that I do think there's a sort of addiction of there being some sort of reason or form that is really driving people kind of mad. And the moment that their wishes do not get met, they act like children and they belittle you. And then they come for your weakest parts. They go for your neck, straight for the jugular, and then they try to expose you to your flaws or whatever. I think behavior like that really scares people who want to speak about certain topics, that they find kind of insane, or they see a problem that needs to be talked about. I, so if you have fear, know that that is just your addiction to this certain way of life that you've been living too long. Go beyond the fear, go beyond the resistance you feel of whatever you're trying to accomplish, and just do it. Forget about analyzing. Go paint the picture, go draw, go write, go press record, and go use your voice. Go stand on a corner with a sign. I Now more than ever, we have to start using our voices. And I it bothers me that no one else is. I mean, I would say I haven't been isolated, but I haven't been hanging out with my really good friends lately. Hopefully I get to see them soon. But I've been wanting to meet new people. I've been trying to expose myself to new people. Um, and the new people I've met have been great. I can't wait to uh, to hang out or to make music or to create something with these people. But I do notice a sort of amongst the new people I've met so far, there's a sort of just depressing, hopeless, just dreadful vibe that I'm getting. And I said this in one of my first lives. You have to drop you have to be able to drop the problem in order to pick up the solution. You can't keep on entertaining these bad ideas without forming a good idea to combat it. For instance, the Charlie Kirk assassination, what his sort of host, um, his sort of formation to um, that he had set up. He was a bunch of conservatives kind of surrounded this podium for this left-leaning individual to come speak their mind. So imagine, well, it's just ones and zeros, right? Imagine the left-leaning person is this one, and the conservative people are the zero. So the one goes to the zero. What does that make him? Does that does the one overform? Hello, Xander. Hello, hello. I'm talking about. Um, I'm talking about how. I'm talking about how we need to form new ideas and how we need to form. We need to drop the problem in order to pick up a solution. And how I'm talking about it is the Charlie Kirk assassination, horrible thing. You have your opinion on it, it's okay. But what I'm getting at is why the way they set up was they would invite this one individual left-leaning person to go and combat this conservative ideology or a conservative lifestyle. Uh, but what I'm trying to get at is you there's you have to be able to drop that sort of problem in order to pick up a new idea. So why go to this area where you do not, people don't agree with you. They'd rather judge you or watch you or laugh at you, and they're just waiting to exploit you. Why would you go to that sort of area and then rather not just create your own sort of community, your own sort of area? I think we're existing within forms that do not belong to us or that do not value our true potential. Hello, Justin. Hello, hello. Get some water. This is a longer video, or a longer live, but it's okay. I think to wrap up what I'm talking about, or what I want to finish talking about, is it's okay to question your environment. And that has to happen. That has to stem from something of willpower, but it also comes from your ability to question your addiction to formation and to form. I think to really get anywhere, we we have to go beyond our addictions, beyond our formation, beyond our belief systems, and beyond our labels to really create something new. To really go, to really combat the sort of problem we find ourselves in. I think I'm gonna leave it there. Appreciate everyone who listened and joined, but I don't really want to keep. I don't really want to keep these that long. But sometimes the conversation just goes. Sometimes you get a little lost, and that's okay. But as long as we're attempting to create something novel, I think we're winning. I think we're doing something right, and we have to go beyond what we know in order to create something new.